Some horror games are just too scary to play. Most people don't finish them, not because they're bored, but because they're too scared to keep going. So, here are the top 20 scariest horror games ever made. The Occultist is a new horror game from Delore that leans heavily into supernatural investigation, because here, you're constantly dealing with restless spirits and entities that don't just show up once, they keep coming back to mess with you. You play as Alan Rebels, a paranormal investigator heading to the isolated island of Godstone to figure out what really happened to his father. Gameplay sticks to a first-person perspective and focuses on investigation tools instead of combat. The main one is a mystical pendulum that helps reveal hidden objects, trigger visions, and interact with things you normally wouldn't notice. There's puzzle solving, some stealth sections, and moments where you need to react quickly during scripted encounters. The game keeps pressure on you by making the threats feel persistent, like they're watching and waiting.
Face evil. Fear is not an option.
It's okay. It's okay. It's me. I know you didn't mean to hurt me. Shouldn't have done that. It's fucking hard!
Alright, what do you say we play a little game?
Resident Evil 7 is one of the scariest entries in the Resident Evil series, pushing the horror into a more grounded and uncomfortable right from the start. You follow Ethan Winters, a regular guy who heads to a rundown plantation in Louisiana after getting a message from his missing wife. The house belongs to the Baker family, and at first they just seem strange, but that quickly turns into something way worse. Gameplay shifts fully into first person. You'll spend a lot of time managing inventory, finding keys, solving puzzles, and slowly unlocking new areas of the house. There are also moments where you're being actively hunted, forcing you to listen for footsteps, hide, or find another path instead of just pushing forward. Combat is deliberate and a bit heavy. Weapons like handguns, shotguns, and a flamethrower are available, but ammo is limited, so every shot has to count. House of Ashes is a horror game that starts like a military operation, but quickly turns into something far worse when the ground collapses and reveals a place that should have stayed buried. The story follows a group of American soldiers set to investigate a suspected underground facility. After an earthquake drops them into a massive buried temple, they realize they're not alone down there. Gameplay focuses on cinematic choices and quick-time events. You control multiple characters, making decisions that affect who lives and who doesn't. There are dialogue options that shape relationship, exploration segments where you uncover clues about the ancient structure, and high-pressure moments that require precise timing. When danger shows up, survival depends on your reactions. Missing inputs or hesitating can have permanent consequences.
Like that, you got any idea what we're dealing with? If something looks like shit and smells like shit, you don't have to taste it to know that it's shit.
Back from the dead, baby.
We're facing an enemy we know zero about, an enemy of unknown size and their home turf. Sucks to be us.
Fatal Frame 2 Remake is a horror game you really should play, because it has its own way of making you feel uncomfortable without relying on excessive jump scares. The story follows twin sisters, who get lost and end up trapped in a cursed village after chasing a mysterious crimson butterfly. Gameplay is built around one core idea. You don't fight like in most horror games. You use the camera obscura to capture ghosts, but to deal real damage, you have to wait until they get close, sometimes right in front of you. That moment where you're forced to stand still and not panic is what makes every encounter feel intense. Resource management adds another layer. Film types are limited, healing items aren't everywhere, and using the wrong shot at the wrong time can leave you vulnerable. So every decision matters, even something as simple as when to take a photo.
Everyone died.
Are you leaving me again?
We can't escape after all. No matter what happens, I'll forgive you, Mia.
Amnesia the Bunker is the kind of horror game that keeps pressure on you the entire time. Not because of constant jump scares, but because you're never truly safe. You're trapped inside a military bunker, and now something is hunting you in the dark, and the only thing keeping it away is light. The problem is, light doesn't last forever. Instead of guiding you through a set path, you decide where to go, which doors to unlock, and how to approach each objective. Everything connects back to one main system, the generator. It powers the lights, but fuel is limited, so you're constantly deciding whether to stay safe or save resources for later. Once the lights go out, the bunker changes completely, and moving around becomes way more dangerous. You do have tools and weapons, but they're more like last options than reliable solutions. Making noise, firing a gun, or even opening certain paths can attract attention. Routine is a space horror game that takes everything you expect from an abandoned facility and slowly turns it into something a lot more unsettling the longer you stay inside it. You wake up inside a lunar research base that's gone completely silent. No crew, no clear signs of what happened, just systems still running like someone, or something, is keeping the place on standby. Gameplay is first-person and focused on slow, careful exploration. There's no traditional guidance system pushing you forward, so progress depends on observation and using the Cosmonaut Assistance tool. This device acts as your main interface for scanning objects, accessing terminals, and solving environmental puzzles. Power management matters too, since every use drains limited battery, so you can't just spam it without thinking.
One final step.
The Mortuary Assistant is a horror game that makes something as ordinary as a night shift at a morgue turn into a situation you probably wish you never signed up for. You play as Rebecca, a newly trained mortuary assistant working the night shift at Riverfield's mortuary. What starts as routine body preparation work quickly shifts when your supervisor explains that some of the bodies coming in are not normal cases. Your work revolves around preparing bodies for burial while carefully inspecting them for signs of possession. You embalm, clean, and document everything with strict steps, but the process isn't as controlled as it sounds. You'll need to examine markings and perform occult rituals using specialized tools to confirm what's really inside each body. You're also required to make a final judgment each night about which corpse is possessed, and that decision directly affects how the situation unfolds.
I suffer no bondage but this rotting, weak, pathetic corpse. Look at me!
at this pitiful flesh I am service to. But this body is no longer mine.
Iblis 3 Phenomena takes place in a remote Middle Eastern village, a place full of abandoned houses that feel like they were left in the middle of something unfinished, with haunted spots that still carry traces of things no one can really explain. The game puts you in the role of a journalist, investigating strange paranormal reports in an abandoned village. You're sent to a specific house where people claim unexplained events keep happening. Instead of structured systems or clear objectives, progression happens through movement and observation. You explore rooms at your own pace, and events trigger based on where you go and what you interact with. Some moments are subtle, just environmental changes or sound cues, while others escalate into full sequences that interrupt your path forward. Amnesia: The Dark Descent starts pretty simple. You wake up in a castle with no memory, just a note you wrote to yourself telling you to keep going. You step into the shoes of Daniel, who finds himself inside castle with no idea how he got there. The only direction comes from his own message, asking him to go deeper into the castle and stop Baron Alexander. Gameplay focuses on direct interaction with the environment. You open doors by dragging them, move objects by hand, and solve puzzles by figuring out how things connect. Progress often depends on noticing small details and understanding how a mechanism works. At the same time, you're managing limited resources like lantern oil and tinderboxes, since staying in the dark too long affects Daniel's sanity. The longer you stay in darkness or witness disturbing events, the more your vision distorts, and your control becomes less reliable.
What the hell is this place? How did I get here?
It's my sincerest belief that we can go on living. It really makes you think about what it means to be human.
I mean, if we are able to save even just a small piece of ourselves, why wouldn't we do that?
My name is Simon.
SOMA puts you inside an underwater facility where the world outside is gone. But something down there is still acting like nothing ever ended. The unsettling part isn't just the setting, but what the station has turned into. Machines acting human, and humans no longer acting like themselves. Instead of giving you tools to fight back, the game pushes you into avoidance. Certain machines patrol the area and react to sound or movement, so staying hidden and moving carefully becomes the main way to get past danger. Encounters aren't constant, but when they happen, you usually don't have many options besides hiding or slipping away quietly. What makes SOMA stand out is how it mixes horror with deeper ideas about identity and consciousness. It keeps asking what it really means to exist when a mind can be copied, transferred, or simulated, and it never really gives you a clear answer. Home Sweet Home doesn't waste time making you feel comfortable. The moment things start, something already feels wrong. Quiet hallways, strange sounds, and that constant feeling that you're not alone. Gameplay is built around stealth and survival, not fighting. You can't defend yourself, so the only option is to hide, move carefully, and stay out of sight. If a spirit finds you, it's usually over unless you manage to escape in time. The story follows Tim, a man searching for his missing wife, but instead of answers, he wakes up in a place that looks familiar, yet completely off. As he moves forward, everything starts connecting to dark events tied to Thai folklore and spirits. There are also puzzles and exploration, but even simple tasks feel stressful because danger can show up at any moment. You're constantly checking corners, listening for sounds, and trying not to panic while moving through tight spaces. The Beast Inside plays with your mind in a different way. It doesn't rely on constant danger. It builds tension by shifting between two timelines that slowly start to connect in unsettling ways. Gameplay mixes exploration, puzzles, and sudden horror sequences. Most of the time, you're investigating, solving codes, and interacting with the environment. But the game can shift quickly into intense chase or survival moments without warning. The story follows Adam, a cryptanalyst hiding in a remote forest during the Cold War, while also uncovering the past of Nicholas, a man who lived there centuries earlier. As both stories unfold, things begin to overlap, and reality starts to feel unstable. There's also a strong focus on psychological pressure. You're not always sure what's real, especially as the two timelines begin to blend. Small details change, environments feel different, and that uncertainty builds tension instead of relying only on jump scares. The Devil in Me leans into a more grounded kind of horror, where the danger comes from a human killer instead of something supernatural. You're dealing with traps, manipulation, and the feeling that someone is always watching you. Gameplay is all about choices and consequences. You control multiple characters, and any decision can lead to someone dying. Some moments force you to react quickly, while others make you think carefully about who to trust and what to do next. The story follows a group of documentary filmmakers invited to a replica of a serial killer's murder castle. It starts off like a normal opportunity, but once they're inside, the exits disappear and the place turns into a controlled nightmare. The tension comes from the traps and how unpredictable they are. One room might seem safe, then suddenly turns into a death setup. You're constantly second-guessing every step.
From the murder castle.
Guys? Is that you?
There's a ton of killer footage to be had here.
My time is at a premium. We need to do this today.
What the f is this?
Oh my god. Are you shooting any of this? No one is gonna believe it without proof. Wait, no! Not that.
Someone, please!
What happened?
What the?
Go!
What is this?
It's a fucking booby trap.
What you say? There's a father up above and he's looking down in love. So be careful, little mouth. You say.
Hey, the outsider!
Outlast 2 takes the same idea from the first game, but pushes it into a much more disturbing direction. Instead of a single building, you're dealing with a wide, open area filled with cultists and something deeply wrong happening behind the scenes. Gameplay still revolves around running, hiding, and surviving, but it adds more pressure this time. You have stamina, so you can't run forever, and you now need to heal yourself with bandages if you get hurt, which slows you down in dangerous moments. The camcorder comes back, but now it also has a microphone system that helps detect enemies through sound, which becomes important in dark areas where you can't see anything. Night vision still drains battery, so you're constantly managing resources while trying not to panic. Hiding spots are more varied too. Tall grass, water, barrels, buildings, and enemies are more aggressive, sometimes searching the exact place you're hiding.
What happened here?
The orphans grow even stronger as they merge. Efficiency discipline is recommended. Such is our calling.
Follow your purpose. Gather the other essences.
The location must.
Cronos, the new dawn, leans into a heavy, oppressive kind of horror where everything feels hostile. Not just the enemies, but the world itself. The story takes place across two timelines. In the future, the world is already destroyed by a catastrophic event, while in the past, you're trying to prevent it by traveling back to 1980s Poland and extracting key people before everything collapses. Gameplay is built around third-person survival combat with tight resource management. Ammo is limited, supplies are scarce, and every fight forces you to think before acting instead of just shooting your way through. One mechanic that really adds pressure is the merge system. Enemies don't stay dead. If you leave their bodies, other creatures can absorb them and become stronger, faster, and more dangerous. The only way to stop it is to burn them quickly or deal with something much worse later. Siren Blood Curse is the kind of horror that keeps you tense even when nothing is happening. The silence, the sound of footsteps, and that distant siren already tell you something is wrong before anything even shows up. Gameplay is heavily focused on stealth and awareness. Enemies called Shibito don't just wander around. They patrol, listen, and react to sound. You can fight sometimes, but it's never reliable, so most of the time you're hiding, waiting, and moving carefully. The story follows multiple characters trapped in a cursed Japanese village called Hanuda. They all arrive for different reasons but end up caught in the same nightmare, trying to survive while the village slowly reveals what's really going on. The most unique mechanic is Sightjack. You can literally see through the eyes of enemies or other characters while still playing. It sounds helpful, but it actually makes things more stressful, because now you can see danger coming.
Hey, wait, what are you? Ah, shit!
Silent Hill F takes the series in a direction that feels unfamiliar in the best way. Not because it changes everything, but because it changes where the horror comes from. Instead of the usual setting, the story moves to 1960s Japan, following a high school girl named Hinako. Her quiet town slowly gets covered in fog, and what used to feel normal starts turning into something disturbing and unrecognizable. Gameplay leans into psychological horror with survival elements, but with a twist. There's no traditional gunplay. Combat is more limited and often uncomfortable, with melee, dodging, and moments where avoiding enemies is the smarter choice. You also have to manage health, stamina, and sanity, which adds pressure even outside of combat. Exploring, solving puzzles, and even just staying in certain areas too long can affect your state, making everything feel heavier over time.
How would you? You don't even know what you are. A creature trapped in a prison of its own making. A thing that should not be.
Layers of Fear doesn't try to chase you or overwhelm you with constant noise. It stays quiet, and then slowly starts changing everything around you. You're walking through a normal room, nothing unusual, then you turn back and it's completely different. Doors vanish, hallways stretch, paintings shift when you're not looking. The game keeps messing with your sense of space, so you're never fully sure what's real anymore. Gameplay is simple on the surface, walking, interacting, solving puzzles, but the real pressure comes from the environment constantly shifting. You're not being chased most of the time, but you still feel uneasy because the game never lets anything stay stable. There's also a lantern mechanic that gives you a small sense of control, but even that doesn't make you feel safe for long. The game always finds a way to take that comfort away. What makes it scary isn't what you see, it's the feeling that the game is always one step ahead of you. Visage is one of the most intense psychological horror experiences you can play, and it stands out because it never gives you a moment where you truly feel safe. The game takes place inside a single house, but it's not just a normal setting. Every room carries fragments of past tragedies, and as you explore, you slowly uncover stories of families who lived there and suffered inside it. Each chapter shifts the focus to a different character, but everything is still tied to the same cursed place. Gameplay is built around exploration, puzzle solving, and sanity management. There's no combat at all, so you're completely vulnerable. You move through dark hallways, interact with objects, and try to piece together what happened while managing your mental state. There's no escape from pressure in this game. Even when nothing is happening, your mind keeps expecting something to go wrong, and that's where most of the fear comes from. Alien Isolation is often considered a masterclass in survival horror because it doesn't rely on scripted scares or constant action. It builds everything around pressure, uncertainty, and smart enemy design. The game follows Amanda Ripley, who arrives at the Sevastopol space station searching for answers about her mother. Gameplay focuses on pure survival and stealth. You don't have the tools to fight the alien directly, which changes everything about how you move. Every hallway, vent, and door becomes a decision. Risk it, or stay hidden and wait. The alien itself is what makes the game stand out. It doesn't follow predictable paths. It searches, listens, and reacts to your behavior. If you repeat strategies, it starts adjusting, making safe spots feel unsafe over time. What makes the experience so memorable is how consistent the pressure is. You're never fully comfortable, even in quiet moments, because the game constantly reminds you that you are being hunted.